Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. Hey Ran, thank you for being here.
And Ian, good to be here.
Yes, how are you?
I love this
Yeah,
studio
I
feeling.
I have to say that we built a beautiful room for the webinars.
Yeah, yeah, we did. It's
Great,
a good job here.
indeed. So, what are we about to speak today?
We're going to speak about the acceptance rates.
Right, an approval ratio, basically, in other words. So the topic for this webinar today is acceptance rate and how we can improve them. And to speak what it is, how we can improve it, and what is the expected outcome, basically. Anything else to say before we are jumping into?
Yeah, we're going to have to
Yalla.
say a lot about it during the event. Yes, it's an event we waited for and planned, and we have a lot to say about. And obviously, we'll be happy to hear from you guys. Any questions or any issues or any comments you have to say about acceptance rates, things that happened to you guys in your processing experience. Um, and also, I think we should give a few more minutes, right, to people to come in. It's only
Yeah,
1 minute
actually,
after
you're right.
6.
I think it's worth to mention that, guys, we have a poll, which will be very happy if you could answer the questions in the poll. And also, do not hesitate to ask us whatever question you want and can think about that we can answer that's relevant to the topic. So please do not hesitate to ask us whatever you want.
We have Alex here saying hello. Hi, Alex. Yeah, we see more people are coming in.
Hello, Alex. Hey, Georgia.
We have Conceal. So this, I hope I say it right. From so this Conceal, we have Iqbal Sanusi.
Hello, Martin. Good to have you.
Yeah, I see people are logging in. Let's give
Yeah.
them a few minutes.
No worries. So tell me, how was your day?
Wow, big day, big day.
Big day, huh?
Big day, like any day.
Like any day in BridgerPay, indeed. Yes.
You know, building a company in Cyprus, which is a fintech SaaS company in Cyprus, is not, let's say, the most obvious thing to do.
Right.
So there's, from one side, many challenges. From the other side, a lot of advantages because you are very unique in the view.
Right.
To
attract better employees.
To attract talents and to attract, and also to be close to different places. So it has its pros and cons for sure. Maybe it's another lesson topic.
And here we have another webinar to go through.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Okay, I see more and more people are joining. Hello, Dobromira and Sonia. Good to have you here. Amir Servi, which we're going to share his story today, by the way.
Yeah.
Amir, yes. A precious, a dear friend.
Mm-hmm.
Which have a great story about the topic that you are going to discuss today.
We have Nissim that joined us as well.
Nissim Mishal.
Okay, let's give it 1 more minute and we'll get to it.
Sure.
Big topic, acceptance rates. Again, if any of you that joined us now, so first of all, happy to have you here. We have the questions and the chat tool inside the event. So if you have any questions or comments, and that occurred to you in the past, even if it's in work life or private life, we want to hear about them, and and see how they fit to the story of acceptance rates. So
I think one of the special things about our topic today that it doesn't necessarily have to do something with a specific industry, because I think it doesn't matter which industry you're in, if it's e-commerce, gaming, traveling, whatever it is, you can improve always your acceptance rate.
of course, acceptance rate is when you pay your phone bill
Exactly.
or electricity bill.
Purchasing online.
You know, purchasing anything that you purchase online, paying anything, a hotel, a bill for something. So in the end, the experience you get when you get this decline is something that you remember. But the nature of us as what happened? How can it be? We have to try again, and we have to see what's wrong, and we maybe will go someplace else to see if the card will work, or this place is not good for me because I got this decline. So yeah, acceptance rate is in everywhere that online
Cross industry, I
processing,
would say.
Yeah, definitely cross industry.
Yes.
So
Shall we?
shall we?
All right, guys.
Shall we? We have Françoise here as well with us. And Rainer,
Mariana.
Joe, yeah, and Andre.
Okay. So first, why we should optimize our acceptance rate, or in other words, our conversion rate, let's say.
Well,
This is a question for the core of the business, I think.
it's a question to anyone that works in a business, because in the end, you're the business owner. You obviously want to optimize the revenues of your business. Goes without saying. You don't sleep at night because you think how you do it, and you have the employees that are actually doing it.
Right.
So it's a headache for both.
Mhm.
It's just in different levels, and definitely the employees feel the pressure of the optimization that comes from the owners, and the answers are supposed to come from them as well. So it's a shared thing, and I think it's across the organization, because anyone in the organization would want to have the impact on the revenues without changing the expenses. And this is why acceptance rates is so important. It's important from the revenue side.
Mhm.
It's important from the user experience side, from the user feedback side.
This is a topic I want to dive into a bit later today, about the user experience of the acceptance rate, because it is a major thing.
It is a major thing. The lack of confidence you got once you got this decline on the website you are buying the product on is huge. You say to yourself, wait, I'll go buy in another website that I'm used to buying it, that knows my cards, that knows me. So you just lost this transaction to another agent that's gonna eat from your revenues.
Right.
Not only you lost the transaction, you lost now revenues from a sale that a reseller would do. So it's important in all the flow of the user payment experience and flow, because even if the transaction was declined, and you're risking here not only losing this revenue, you're risking losing more revenues,
Right.
because you would need to share.
I want to speak about, in this slide, we can see, of course, everything has to do with growth of your business. But from one side, you can see the acceptance rates, and from the other side, you can see the cart abandonment rate.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me a bit more about like those two parameters inside your growth?
Well, you want to increase your acceptance rates.
Right.
You want to decrease your cart abandonment rate.
Right.
That's the two pillars of growth of a business that does not involve now a change in your sales, in your marketing, in your structure, in the way you, in the expenses you have in your company. It's two pillars that can bring huge impact on business revenues. If you treat with both of them in the right way, you increase the acceptance rates, you reduce cart abandonment rate, you make clients pay more and complete transactions, and yeah, that's the way to grow.
I think that one thing that here is a fact that I checked out on the web. Around 70%, speaking about e-commerce, right? About 70% of the shopping cart are being abandoned. So you have just like 30% to save to make your business, and you cannot have any lower acceptance rate. So you're left with 30% of the business, and now you can think of it. Like what would happen if you lose like 10%, 20% of the 30%?
So you're saying what? 30% are leaving your checkout
To the checkout, trying to buy from you.
and completing.
If you would have an improved acceptance rate, yeah,
And where is the 70% goes?
on the card abundant, sorry.
Leaving.
Yeah.
So what we saw in Bridger is that when you connect the right payment method to the right client in the right region, the cart abandonment rate average in Bridger clients is today around 7%.
Crazy. This is crazy.
It's 7, not 70.
Yeah.
So it's all a matter of the right formation of payment method. If you listen to your clients well, if you get this feedback from them, what do they want to pay with? The abandonment will be gone. And obviously, if you solve a lot of technical problems on checkout, which we spoke about in previous lessons, then you reduce this cart and see how we make this pillar grow without changing anything in our business.
All right. So, what are acceptance rates?
Approved transaction and declined transaction.
As simple as that. But basically, here is something I want to raise here. Acceptance rate basically have nothing to do with your website or your buyer in your website. So you can have the best flow in your website, the best UX UI, the best products, the best prices, and the client can really wants to buy from you. And basically acceptance rate, if you're thinking about it, it doesn't depend neither on you or your client.
Of course, if you take this, first of all, definition in terms of acceptance rate is the amount of transactions that manage to be approved from the total amount of transactions.
Right.
So the transparency on the total amount of approved transaction, the total amount of declined transactions that you have is the basic way to start the baseline of calculation of your acceptance rates. Now, once you know exactly how many approved transactions you have, exactly how many declined transactions you have, then you start break it down per country. So acceptance rates between one country to another country will be completely different. You want to start optimize where your biggest gap is. So you want to optimize where your acceptance rate is the lowest and your volume is the highest. So that's the most painful place for the business that you need to touch now. And that's what you want to make sure it's transparent to you. So you know where to go and where to start with. And then, okay, we're going to speak about how to do it later on. Yeah.
But to give a small topic to this, in other words, basically acceptance rates have nothing to do with you or your client. So it's 100% depend on a third party. And
you have the most amazing product, the most amazing website, everything works beautifully, right?
Right.
You're a client from India, and your acquirer does not, that gave you a card, does not accept any transaction that comes from acquirers out of India, you would be declined.
As simple as that.
As simple as that.
All right. So speaking about 3 types of outcome from clicking pay now, right? Or buy now. So basically you can either have your payment approved, either you can have your payment pending, which I have a great story about it. This is the time, or
no, a bit, I guess.
A bit, all right.
That's great.
And you can have your payment decline.
Yeah.
Right.
First of all, let's put the light on the thing. There is such a thing that is called payment pending. This is something that merchants sometimes have this lack of understanding of what is a payment pending, but businesses are connected to payment providers, and those payment providers have different type of technology behind them. They are connected to acquirers all around the world. Client is making a transaction in our website. The transaction is being sent to the payment provider, and the payment provider is now waiting for the acquirer behind to give him the approve decline, that he will get the signal from the issuer. Hi, I issue the client. Yes, I have the money. The client has the money in the account. You can take it. This whole process takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the providers, most of the global acquirers know how to do it in less than a second, in milliseconds. And some providers in some countries are having trouble connecting to the end acquirers, to the end issuers. And this transaction takes time to get approved. This time could be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 40 minutes, 3 hours. Right? We saw many cases in Bridger with many different providers, and transaction would remain in pending for 3 hours. The merchant would call us and tell us, what do I say to the client? And we'd say, we don't know. Let's go to the payment provider. The payment provider, I don't know. I'm waiting for an answer. And everybody's, just waiting. And we are 2021, yes? Everybody is waiting for an answer. Oh, no, 2020. And everybody is waiting for an answer. And this is obviously something or a situation business cannot afford.
No.
You cannot afford it to your clients. You cannot tell your clients, please wait 40 minutes, we'll let you know the transaction.
This way or another, this is like the worst client experience you can have as a client.
Worse. Now, it could be worse when the business you paid doesn't even see the money that you paid. You see in your credit card the statement that you paid,
mm-hmm.
but the merchant doesn't have this transaction anywhere because it wasn't approved.
And also, not you necessarily have it as a proof transaction.
Of course.
In the first 2, 3, 5 minutes.
Of course. So the whole circle is being in a lack of communication at that point. Anything can happen. The merchant can be charged. The payment provider hasn't still approved the transaction, and the merchant still doesn't know that the transaction was approved, that he needs to send the goods. It can be in all the circle, and the way to minimize it is, first of all, to be transparent to payment providers that take this type of process. Also, if you are adding a payment method that it's inherited inside the payment method, we have payment method in Bridger that we are connected in Brazil, in Chile, in Peru, in Argentina. We are sending clients to pay for the shirts they are buying or the grocery in a pharmacy, mm-hmm. in cash. So the guy needs to get out of his home now, go to a pharmacy, pay. Only then we will get the approved transaction. So it really depends on which region it goes to the world. You cannot eliminate it totally,
mm-hmm.
but you need to be aware.
Yeah, definitely. So speaking about pending transactions, so I have this good friend that I think is now one of our audience here, which told me a few years ago the story. And yesterday I told him, can you refresh my mind what was actually happened? So here's the case. It was some day on November when you have all these hot sales on the website and everything on the web.
Black Friday.
Yes,
Cyber
one of those
Mondays,
days, I can't remember. And he went to a website which he didn't know before. And he was trying to purchase speakers, like $25 for a speaker. And he was inserting his credit card details, clicking on Pay Now. The screen was processing, and just like 0404 page, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like nowhere.
Yeah.
And then he went back to the website, insert again the credit card details, processing, nothing happened. On the 9th, 10th time, he used his wife's credit card details, and actually and by the way, all this process happened when he actually looking on his history, if he actually purchased or not, in his last purchases, in last orders, nothing appeared. On the 10th time, he took his wife's credit card, put the credit card inside the website, and boom, got a V. Your purchase has been completed. You got it.
Amazing.
The day after, he got back to the website, and he saw that he's and I think till now I have one of them because he had basically 10, so I didn't know what to do with them, so I just shared with a friend. So this is what pending can do to you basically.
So what happened here? Let's dissect. He made the transaction, he got a 404. The transaction went to the payment provider. The payment provider returned because the integration to the payment provider was as such that if I'm not getting an approved decline, return me an error. Boom. I got an error. In the meantime, the transaction went to the payment provider.
Right.
Payment provider got a transaction, but it takes him more time to do it until he did it, right? He got a late decline, a late approval. The late approval was transmitted to the merchant that wasn't hearing it because he already declined it, right? So now you have a payment provider that got approved, send the approval to the merchant. The merchant
40
says,
minutes, 2 hours
okay,
after.
I got an approval, great, let's make an order of the client. The order was created after your friend already finished his 10 transaction. Only then they started coming into the system when the callbacks of the approval came in from the payment provider, and he was billed. And there was something different for sure between his credit card and his wife's credit card.
What
It's
is
interesting. Maybe he can tell us, but there must be something different because if he didn't finish the transaction with his credit card, there must be something.
What, the kind of security thing, 3D?
Something was different. Could be from another bank. If it's only issued from another bank, he's in one bank, she's in another bank, that's enough for it to be approved.
I mean, like different banks can be the reason for this pending.
Sure, different issuer banks that could take longer to respond.
I see. All right, moving forward.
Let's see if there is any questions here. It's too quiet.
I agree.
Where is and we also have some answers to our polls. Let's see.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we have we have 63% that are using between 3 to 5 payment providers.
Which is nice to see.
The rest is using between 1 to 2.
See about the percentage of how many people experience failed transactions.
Experience failed transactions.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it's.
You want to spend money, but they don't let you.
It's there, and I would want to know if any one of you, it's I can see that most of them have experience in failed transactions and are using more than 3 to 5 payment providers. But I would want to know, how are you optimizing it? Are you optimizing it today manually or through a platform or a gateway that allows you to do that?
Or in other words, with or without risk?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So speaking of risk, there is 2 ways basically to optimize your acceptance rate. One is with risk and the other one is without risk. So let's focus, for example, obviously first on the with risk. What does it mean? How can you risk more than you already risked?
How do you optimize the acceptance rates manually? So you have a checkout that is connected to a payment provider, and that's your stack, that's your payment stack. You want to optimize your acceptance rates. Let's say you measured your acceptance rates as of today in different countries. You see that, like we said before, you have lower acceptance rates in Brazil with a high volume, with a very nice volume that you would definitely want to have more of it if you had more acceptance rates. So what do? You connect another payment provider.
Right.
And then what? You need to decide who is going to operate, who is going to process the next transaction.
Let's assume that the first PSP you had his acceptance rate was around 80%.
80%.
All right. Now you have connected the second PSP without any smart mechanism. Just connected.
You replaced You took down.
You took the 80%.
You took down the first PSP. You uploaded the new PSP to your prod environment, and now you have a new payment provider processing your Brazil transactions. This payment provider promised you the world where I'm doing 95, 98 % approval ratio across the world, right? Which does not ever exist. And you believed,
of course,
and you took him and you added him and you took down an 80% that you got. So for every 100 transaction, 80 transactions were approved.
Yeah.
And you had 20 declines that you know that there were a decline.
Right.
We'll talk later about which type of decline. So what do? You took him down, you added the new payment provider, and now this new payment provider that promised you 95, giving you 75.
You lost.
You lost what?
No,
you lost 5% on the volume of Brazil. You wanted to optimize the volume. You not only didn't optimize your volume, you lost money now. You actually lost money. You are still using the same sales and marketing campaigns and budgets, etc., but you lost now money.
Crazy.
And you took a risk, and you can try different combination or different payment providers, but you will always be in a risk.
But the risk is always on you because you don't have any optimization to this process. Because you either take one and replace it with other one. No one promised. Maybe the PSP promised you, but no one, that.
Right.
Be dependable.
Let's talk about the sample. How long does it take you to know? 1 day?
Do you have the data?
2 weeks? How do you know?
Do you have the data?
No, you need to know. You had this payment provider in 80% all your life. Now you changed him to a new guy. This new guy is giving you 75%. When do you stop? You're now in a position where you chose something. You are the flag owner of that decision. It's like it's like in trading. You are in love with your position.
Yeah.
You will say, no, it will be better. It will be better. It will be better. So that's the risk part, and you want to minimize it. And to minimize it, you need to work with a payment operation or payment orchestration or payment gate that allows you to connect multiple payment providers, that allows you to retry a payment provider one to the other, which means you're not now connecting another payment provider that is giving you a 75%, and you are on 75%. That's it. You lost the 5%, like we said before. When you work with an operating platform, let's say you put on PSP1 the 75%.
All right.
But you added as a fallback, okay, you're 80% on the back.
So in other words, you promised yourself at least 80%.
The 80%.
At least. And if you connect to the third?
Numa.
So this
is where you start optimizing. So if you failed on the first and you successfully got someone better on the third, you made it 85. So it doesn't matter how you play with it, actually.
No.
It's just the fallbacks.
Just to have it.
It's just to have the fallbacks, the right fallbacks within the route. And obviously, the one that gives you the highest approval ratio should be the first.
Yeah.
There is no reason for you to transfer transactions that do not need to be transferred to another payment provider. So this is what we've built in Bridger, a way to add multiple payment method or providers under the same route, behind the same payment page. And then, first of all, we are eliminating risk. We are allowing optimization risk-free. And it's not only the optimization of the acceptance rates, it's also the optimization of the commercial rates. So let's say PSP1 and PSP2 both are doing 80%, but PSP1 costs 0.5% less. There is so many ways to and so many combinations, and yeah, we see.
But what you're just saying is like bring me to the thought that you're trying to basically you're trying to have the same outcome from with risk and without risk. You want to have better acceptance rate. So let's say that you improved your acceptance rate from 80% to 90%. And this is like the first outcome you want to see actually from using platform like orchestration platform or payment operation platform.
Definitely.
It's actually worth to you as a business much more than to have the conversation with the PSP about, like, let's say 0.5% improvement in your commercial agreement with him.
Obviously, the retry mechanism that you have here is causing minimum 8% from what we're seeing to 35% increase in approval ratio due to safe declines.
So you can.
It's not comparable to changing your fee from 3.2 or 2.9 to 2.8 or 2.7, and you are running after these commercials, and you are getting exhausted on changing 0.1, where all you want is to show the business, I just got you 10% on revenues from Brazil on top of whatever we used to get without changing my sales and marketing expenses. And that's the impact you want to create in your business.
All right.
Let's see if the people here has any questions to ask us.
Yeah, guys, waiting for some questions from you.
See. There's a chat on the right, the one if you can see it. There's hi Amir, good to have you here. There's a chat tool on the right, so just press on it and ask us. It's Kfir Scheinfeld. Hi Kfir.
All again from Maccabi Reut.
So you can ask us anything on the chat. We would really want to hear some declines, some acceptance rates, efforts you try to do in your company maybe, or that you are trying to do, some challenges that you face today, and we'll be happy to answer. Okay, now
okay.
See that.
Yeah, it seems like everything is clear.
Everything is clear. Yeah.
Yes. So, moving forward.
How it works. We haven't
so yes. What was it?
It was the impact.
Impact, right? Yes.
So yeah, we just said so the differences, the difference you create in impact, the impact you create on changing the acceptance rates is a monthly change. So every month you added the business another 10%. So it's a 10% over the year on the year income on Brazil. So it's very important to say that it's not just a one-time optimization. It's accumulative, and throughout the year you are optimizing it. So the 85 can go to 86, and the 86 can go to 87, and there is always a way to make it higher by connecting other payment methods and getting to the higher approval ratio.
Right.
So, and obviously everything you generated is accumulating around the year, throughout the year, and that's your impact on the business, and it's big numbers.
Yes. How it works. Fine.
So let's share a little bit on a little bit from Bridger product. Let me know that you see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, what we're about to see is how we can improve a tool to improve your acceptance rate.
What I'll show you is how we are doing it in Bridger and what we've built in Bridger when we saw this issue. It was decline or you get decline reasons which are completely not relevant or not related. The invalid payment data, you're not configured for this currency, or why would I not configure to what was it, a dollar currency? It's sometimes when we get declines, we get very, very weird decline reasons, completely not related to if the client had money.
What is the weirdest, by the way, that you faced?
A Japanese payment provider that didn't accept a transaction because the client name was in Japanese.
No.
Swear to God.
They both were Japanese.
Yes.
Okay. How do you define the ridiculous?
Go figure out.
Yeah.
There are some African countries with some crazy letters. There's many cases, but many different reasons. There's obviously all the downtimes that they have, and they just send you a vague message without really telling you what happened here. So what we did in Bridger is, first of all, understanding that there is a problem like that, and understanding that there are declines that are not related to the fact that the client has money in his account or not has money in his account. What we did is build a mechanism that allowed us to filter and know. It's a very advanced machine learning that knows exactly what payment decline reasons we should retry and which we should not. And we then created the router. The router is what allows our merchants to build different sequence of payment providers according to different countries, and have different payment logics on a country that they want to try to optimize. So if we said before, we have I don't know, let's do Brazil, although we have already a Brazil route. In the Brazil route, we can see that we have 3 credit card options that we added, another 2 alternative payment method. Okay, we can easily add more payment methods to whatever our clients will see. The checkout will look like that. We will have one consolidated payment option of credit card and the other alternative payment methods I chose. The sequence of a transaction is determined by the merchant at every single point. So he can, by drag and drop, change the retry order and decide, okay, now PayPal is going to get all the transaction first, then Boleto, then PayU. And if I just want to take PayU now or out of the business, I'm doing it in a click, or adding any other payment method.
So actually, in that way that you're just showing us, you're promising yourself that the acceptance rate will be by the highest acceptance rate, by the highest PSP. I mean, it's not an average, it's not the minimum, it's always will be the maximum. So let's say you have one PSP with 70%, one PSP with 80%, one PSP with 90%. It doesn't matter how you order them, it will always be 90%.
Exactly, because if the first is your worst, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. All right.
Now let's say I canceled all the payment providers. I want to add new ones here. I want to add Stripe. I want to add WorldPay. I want to add Checkout.com. I want to add another alternative payment method like Klarna, and I want to add them to the route of Brazil. And now I've created a new route with different payment providers that are enabled. And once I'm coming into my new route of Brazil, I will see my 3 payment provider enabled. If I want checkout to be first now, I'm going to take it to be first. And what is going to actually happen in the transaction itself is that the transaction is going to start with the first payment provider that we placed, let's say checkout.com, and then we are going to get a decline that, of course, you're going to easily understand. Declined by payment system. Amazing.
Clear.
It's very clear. And then we are going to WorldPay, which is telling us the card type entered is not currently supported. And what can we say? Visa is not supported. Very interesting. Then we go to Zip that we actually haven't went to them because we filter them by a rule. We can also build different rules in Bridger to manipulate the route and say, I don't know, transaction above this amount, take it out of the route logic and send it directly there because
and stuff.
I know that that's where I want to send it. So we can filter payment providers that are on the route by the rule, and send it to the last one to get the transaction, which in the end took the transaction and approved it. So the approval process is being done seamlessly. The retry process is done seamlessly behind the scene. So in terms of the user, he sees the transaction is being processed. In the meantime, in milliseconds, we went to 4 or 3 payment providers and got the approval. The approval ratio or the approval ratio of every payment provider is very transparent in Bridger, and also the retry ratio, the amount of transactions we successfully approved after the decline.
Right.
So, and you can also see the value that we brought the business. So this is something that we put in front of us because it's obviously one of the biggest values that you can get here in Bridger, and we want the clients to know and to see it as well, and also be proud of their impact on the business they work on.
So this is exactly the 10% we spoke about in the acceptance rate, compared to the 0.5% you can get the better commercial terms from your PSP. So this is exactly reflecting that.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe people have questions. Let's see.
I think the topic is so clear.
Okay, guys, I thought we definitely thought there was going to be more questions here today, huh? Okay, maybe it is clear. But,
I have a question for you, Ron. Actually, 2 questions. What is the expected outcome from improving your acceptance rate? And second question, what acceptance rate have to do with client experience?
So expected outcome, we can start with the fact that if you go with the formula to optimize the acceptance outcome, the acceptance optimization outcome, you want to start with the country where you have the highest decline ratio, which or the lowest approval ratio, together with the amounts of total transactions that are coming from that region, from that country. So if you put the light and you start from there, it will give you a good place to later on do other stuff in the organization. So you show a big acceptance rates impact on the place where it's easiest to impact, and then later on other countries will just fall in the same order or logic that you had, and will be optimized as well. So the impact is and the effect is we are talking about, it depends on the business, right? It can be millions. We have businesses that the retry value on a monthly basis is above $5 million. So
and what it has to do with client experience?
Well, you want to improve acceptance rates. You want to improve. You want to improve the people that will complete the transaction. So to do that, decrease your cart abandonment, because by decreasing cart abandonment, you're bringing more people into the process of either approve or decline. So or pending. And to bring more people in the process will bring you more revenues and more sales. So you want to push more people inside, and if a business has, like you said, 70% abandonment rate from its checkout, yeah, that's definitely something you want to check. This is money you lose on a daily basis, and
definitely.
And I think you definitely want to get below the 10% as a goal, and to reach the point that over 90% of the people that want to start paying or to buy something that you're selling them will at least try. At least.
This is the bare minimum.
At least. Later, we'll see if they get declined pending approval. We'll send them maybe to a pharmacy.
Guys, any questions from home that you would like to ask? If not, so. Seems like no.
Not with so good explanation. Wow, thank you, Alex.
All right, well done. Thank you, Georgia. Well, so, guys, I think it's the time to thank everyone. Thank you, Oni. Thank you for joining us.
It was very nice.
I enjoyed very much.
Yeah, to do it with you, Nir.
Yes, definitely. Maybe Ran have some question. See you next time. Yeah, Ran, can't wait to see you, actually.
So yeah, we have a few more events coming up.
Yeah.
We are also going to thank you, Rich. We had Rich Thompson here from Riskified, which, by the way, is
Such an honor.
an amazing company that does beautiful service. Maybe we should ask Rich to join us to one of the future webinars.
Sounds like
Tell us a little bit more about Riskified.
Rich, will you join us to the next webinar?
And how we can also connect it together, because I know and I can tell you from like as an inside thing that Riskified is a company that we're very much eager to start work with, connect, and have our merchants using their beautiful service that saves you a lot of money and headache. So yeah, we can definitely have Rich maybe joining us in another event.
Good to have you.
Good.
Anyway, so once again, Ron and everyone who took place in this webinar, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you about acceptance rate, and see you in the next webinar.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Guys.
Have a
Thank
great
you so
night.
much.
We need to maybe make the next one with some case study. Maybe one of our merchants